What in the name of Harlem drama did we just witness? Out of nowhere, Cam'ron has detonated the internet with a leak, so wild, so outrageous, that people are literally questioning if the hip-hop universe has just flipped upside down. Jim Jones, the Dipset capo, the man who's spent decades building a reputation as Harlem royalty, is suddenly caught in a private video that nobody was supposed to see. And who's behind the leak? None other than his own brother-in-arms, turned frenemy, Cam'ron. Yeah, you heard that right. The guy who once stood side by side with Jim is now the guy throwing him under the bus in front of millions. But the real question is, why? Was this a calculated chess move, a petty revenge scheme, or just Cam being Cam, the self-proclaimed king of chaos? Social media is losing its mind. Chrissy Lampkin is ready to set fire to Instagram, and insiders are whispering that this isn't just a scandal, it's the ultimate betrayal. So buckle up, because what started as a leak is quickly spiraling into an all-out war. And trust me, you're gonna want to hear every explosive detail. Out of nowhere, Cam'ron has set off a scandal that has shaken the hip-hop world to its core. And it all revolves around a private video of Jim Jones that has somehow made its way into the public eye, leaving fans, insiders, and celebrities alike scrambling to process what they are seeing. Jim Jones, the Dipset legend, has always been known for his street-smart persona, his loyalty to his friends, and his ability to navigate the ups and downs of fame with a careful balance of charm and toughness. But this sudden exposure has put him in a position no one could have predicted, facing a personal breach that strikes at the very heart of his reputation. Cam'ron, his longtime collaborator and friend, who has built a career on unpredictability, flamboyance, and stirring controversy, now finds himself at the center of this explosive situation, as whispers suggest that he may have had a hand in releasing the footage. A claim that has only fueled public speculation and made social media erupt with endless debates, theories, and heated discussions. Chrissy Lampkin, Jim's partner, and a force of nature in her own right, is not standing idly by, her response swift, fierce, and unmistakably public, making it clear that she views this as a personal attack, a betrayal not only of Jim but of the trust and loyalty that should exist between people who have shared years of friendship and collaboration. Social media exploded the moment the video surfaced, with fans flooding platforms with reactions that ranged from shock and disbelief to outrage and condemnation, as many struggled to reconcile the image of the Jim Jones they knew with the footage, now circulating online. And conversations in online communities became battlegrounds where allegiances were formed and theories proliferated. Some suggesting this was a simple act of revenge, others claiming it was a carefully orchestrated stunt by Cam'ron to regain attention, as he has a long history of dramatic moves that consistently keep him in the public eye. Insiders close to Jim have described his reaction as a mixture of fury, disbelief, and strategic concern, understanding immediately that damage control would be crucial if he hoped to preserve not only his personal reputation but also his professional standing. And there are claims that private conversations with close friends and associates have been dominated by attempts to figure out the motive behind the leak, why Cam'ron would allegedly cross such a line, and how to respond without escalating the situation further. The footage, while still a topic of intense speculation, appears to depict Jim in a setting and context that is highly personal, and the ambiguity of the video has allowed rumors to flourish, leaving the public to interpret, exaggerate, and sensationalize what they are seeing, which in turn has amplified the impact far beyond what might have occurred had the video been clearer or less provocative. The relationship history between Jim and Cam'ron adds another layer of complexity, as they have shared decades of collaboration, stage appearances, and public celebrations, forging a partnership that seemed solid enough to withstand the pressures of the industry, making the possibility of betrayal all the more shocking to those who have followed their careers, and prompting insiders to speculate that tensions may have been simmering beneath the surface for years, only now erupting in the form of a public scandal that no one anticipated. Fan reactions have been immediate and intense, with many taking to social media to defend Jim, decry Cam'ron as disloyal, or alternatively, to question whether the leak reveals truths about Jim's personal life that had previously been hidden, creating a polarized environment in which opinion and emotion run high, and every post, comment, and story feeds into the frenzy. The media response has been relentless, with entertainment news outlets, blogs, and gossip channels dissecting every possible angle, interpreting cryptic posts, reading between the lines of social media statements, and amplifying the drama. which has kept the story trending and ensured that the public remains captivated. While publicists and representatives scramble to manage the fallout in ways that are both strategic and delicate, Chrissy Lampkin's presence in the situation cannot be overstated, as she has not only voiced her anger but also symbolized the personal stakes of the leak, representing a force of accountability and protection around Jim that adds emotional weight to the scandal and highlights the personal cost of whatever decisions led to the video's circulation. Kamran's strategic ambiguity in the aftermath has only intensified the suspense, with vague posts, cryptic comments, and subtle hints that may or may not reference the video, keeping fans on edge and creating a constant state of speculation, which fuels attention, engagement, and a sense of unpredictability that is quintessentially The combination of long-standing history, personal betrayal, and public spectacle has transformed this incident from a simple video leak into a complex narrative involving trust, friendship, reputation, and power within the hip-hop community, and the ripple effects are being felt across social media platforms, news outlets, and fan communities. With every new piece of commentary, insider leak, or social media post adding another layer to the story, rumors are running rampant. From theories about whether Kamran's actions were motivated by jealousy or strategic positioning to speculation about what Jim's next steps might be. And even casual observers are becoming invested in predicting how the situation will evolve, which is exactly the kind of intense public engagement that keeps scandals like this alive in the public consciousness. Legal experts and industry insiders have also chimed in, discussing potential privacy violations, the ethical implications of sharing personal footage, and the long-term impact on careers and personal relationships, highlighting that this is not merely entertainment but a multifaceted situation with real-world consequences, adding gravity to an already dramatic narrative. As the video continues to circulate and social media buzzes with commentary, fans are divided between loyalty, judgment, and curiosity, creating an environment where every new reaction fuels the ongoing drama, and where Jim Cameron and Chrissy find themselves navigating a high-stakes landscape in which every move, statement, and post is scrutinized, interpreted, and amplified. Sources close to Jim have described private meetings where damage control strategies were discussed, attempts to preserve relationships considered, and ways to address the public without inflaming tensions debated at length, reflecting the serious, personal and professional implications of the leak, and underscoring the fact that this is more than just a viral moment. It is a crisis that touches every aspect of the lives of those involved. Kamran's pattern of unpredictable behavior, past feuds, and ability to manipulate media attention makes it clear that if he is behind the leak, it was likely intentional and carefully planned to maximize impact, creating a situation where Jim is forced to react under pressure while also managing public perception, friendships, and personal relationships, all at once. The interplay of personal betrayal, public scrutiny, and long-standing history has created a narrative that is both engaging and suspenseful, keeping fans, insiders, and casual observers hooked and wondering what will happen next, which is exactly the dynamic that makes this scandal so compelling. Every statement, post, or leak now carries weight, and the potential for further surprises keeps the tension high, making it clear that this situation is far from resolved and that the unfolding story will continue to capture attention, dominate conversations, and provoke debate for the foreseeable future, leaving Jim Cameron and Chrissy in a high-stakes drama where every choice could shift the balance of power, perception, and loyalty. The fallout from the initial leak has already begun, and the questions surrounding motive, consequence, and reaction are numerous and pressing, making it evident that this is only the beginning of a saga that will dominate headlines, social media, feeds, and fan discussions in the weeks to come, ensuring that the impact of this single private video will resonate far beyond the initial shock, fundamentally altering the relationships, reputations, and public perception of everyone involved, and leaving audiences eager, anxious, and fully invested in what happens next. While the public consumed every post and reaction, insiders were leaking information that painted an even more intricate picture, describing private meetings, strategy sessions, and heated conversations behind closed doors, suggesting that the fallout from the video leak was affecting not only public perception but also personal relationships, business decisions, and alliances within the hip-hop community. The speculation intensified when anonymous sources claimed that Kamran had been monitoring Jim's activities for some time, keeping track of his personal and professional life in a way that allowed him to strike at the perfect moment. A revelation that only added to the perception of premeditation and calculated drama, and left fans questioning just how deep the betrayal went and what had motivated Kamran to act in such a way. The tension between Jim and Kamran had been simmering for years, with previous disagreements over music, business, and personal matters creating a backdrop that, while unnoticed by the public for the most part, may have set the stage for this explosive confrontation, and the video leak served as a catalyst that brought those underlying tensions into the open, forcing both men to navigate not only the immediate fallout but also the long-term consequences for their friendship, careers, and reputations. Legal experts weighed in as well, analyzing potential violations of privacy and discussing the ramifications that could arise from distributing or possessing private content without consent, raising questions about whether this incident could escalate into lawsuits, public statements from attorneys, or even settlements that might affect both parties financially and reputationally, adding yet another layer of complexity to an already tangled web of personal and professional stakes. At the same time, media outlets were dissecting every element of the scandal, from Kamran's cryptic social media posts to Chrissy's explosive reactions, framing the story in a way that heightened drama and kept audiences glued to updates, turning what might have been a short-lived controversy into a multi-week narrative that seemed to expand with each new development, and ensuring that public attention remained firmly focused on every unfolding twist. Observers noted that the dynamics at play extended beyond just the individuals directly involved, highlighting how the scandal had rippled through the larger hip-hop community, affecting fellow artists, collaborators, and industry figures who were forced to respond, comment, or strategically distance themselves, creating a complex social network in which each reaction had the potential to shift perception, influence alliances, and add fuel to the ongoing drama. Fans speculated endlessly about Kamran's endgame, questioning whether he was seeking revenge, attention, or simply asserting control over the narrative. And every vague post, subtle remark, or cryptic video he released seemed to reinforce the perception that he was orchestrating a performance designed to maximize impact, keep the audience engaged, and maintain a position of influence over the conversation that had consumed the internet. Meanwhile, Jim struggled to regain control, carefully crafting public statements and selective interviews that attempted to contextualize the situation, preserve his reputation, and reassure supporters, all while dealing with the private emotional toll of feeling betrayed by someone he once considered a brother, navigating a landscape where personal loyalty collided with public scrutiny, and where each decision had to account for both personal relationships and the broader implications for his career and public image. Chrissy's presence remained a stabilizing yet fiery force, as she continued to speak out, defend Jim, and assert her stance in a way that made it clear she was unwilling to allow the narrative to be hijacked or manipulated, reminding the public that this scandal was not only about the leaked video but also about trust, loyalty, and the consequences of betrayal, and that anyone underestimating her influence would do so at their own peril. As the story progressed, additional rumors began to surface, including claims that there might be more footage, or that other private interactions were being monitored, further amplifying the suspense and leaving fans and insiders alike to speculate on what could come next, whether further leaks, public confrontations, or private negotiations aimed at damage control. Sources close to both parties described private conversations, strategic planning sessions, and heated exchanges that highlighted the personal stakes and emotional intensity of the situation, revealing that behind the public spectacle there was a high-stakes negotiation over reputation, loyalty, and influence, and that every decision carried weight not just for the individuals involved but for the larger community watching closely. Amidst this ongoing drama, observers noted that Kamran's ability to control the narrative, generate attention, and manipulate public perception was in full effect, demonstrating a mastery of timing, presentation, and strategic ambiguity that ensured the scandal remained a dominant topic of conversation. While Jim and Chrissy navigated a complex landscape where every move required careful calculation, and where the interplay between personal betrayal and public scrutiny created an extraordinary level of tension that showed no signs of abatement. The situation remained fluid, unpredictable, and highly charged, with fans, insiders, and media outlets alike anticipating every next move, analyzing every post, and interpreting every action. And the intensity of public engagement only reinforced The sense that this was not merely a temporary controversy but a long-running saga that would continue to dominate discussions, test relationships, and challenge reputations, leaving all involved to confront the immediate and long-term consequences of what had begun as a single, explosive moment captured on video. As the weeks passed, the tension between Jim Jones and Kamran showed no sign of easing, with every new development seeming to push the boundaries of the scandal even further, and the public remained fixated on every interaction, post, and interview, analyzing the situation as if it were a high-stakes reality show. While insiders whispered about private confrontations and strategic discussions that were happening out of sight, all of which added layers of intrigue and speculation to an already explosive story, Kamran, ever the master of unpredictability, continued to maintain an air of calculated ambiguity, posting cryptic messages, subtle references, and playful yet pointed social media content that left fans questioning whether he was mocking Jim, taunting him, or simply reveling in the chaos he had orchestrated. And every post generated massive engagement, trending discussions, and endless debates across online communities. Meanwhile, Jim Jones found himself walking a delicate tightrope, balancing the need to protect his personal life, defend his reputation, and maintain composure under pressure, while also responding to Chrissy Lampkin's unwavering support and the very public outrage that her statements had inspired, creating a situation where every move carried immense weight and every reaction was amplified. Beyond what he might have imagined, the dynamic between Jim and Chrissy remained a focal point, with Chrissy's fierce loyalty, protective instincts, and unapologetic public statements turning her into both a shield and a voice of authority within the narrative, demonstrating to fans and insiders alike that she was not merely a bystander but a central figure, actively shaping the discourse and influencing public perception, while also making it clear that any further attempts to undermine Jim would be met with fierce opposition. Reports from anonymous sources suggested that Kamran's actions may have been part of a broader strategy designed not only to dominate public attention but also to unsettle Jim professionally, socially, and emotionally, leveraging years of shared history, perceived slights, and existing tensions to create a scenario where the fallout was inevitable, and the media coverage, fan reactions, and insider commentary ensured that the story remained in the spotlight for weeks on end. The ripple effects of the scandal extended beyond the immediate players, with collaborators, fellow artists, and industry figures being forced to weigh in or subtly navigate the situation to protect their own reputations and relationships, creating a network of influence, speculation, and strategic communication that added to the complexity of the unfolding drama and highlighted just how interconnected personal and professional lives are within the entertainment world. Fans dissected every possible angle, from the timing of posts to the subtext of interviews, to cryptic lines in new music that were interpreted as veiled references to the ongoing feud, creating an environment where speculation became a spectator sport, and where the anticipation of the next revelation became a daily obsession, further cementing the story's place as a cultural phenomenon and a point of intense public fascination. Legal analysts and industry commentators continued to weigh in on the possible ramifications, discussing potential privacy violations, the ethical implications of distributing private material without consent, and the likelihood of civil actions or settlements, adding an extra layer of seriousness to a situation that, while sensationalized in the public eye, also carried real-world consequences for everyone involved and underscored the high stakes beyond mere social media frenzy. As the public and media followed the unfolding events, the personal toll on Jim was evident, with sources describing a man grappling with feelings of betrayal, frustration, and the pressure of navigating a crisis that threatened both his personal and professional life, and the added responsibility of maintaining a public image while managing private emotions, created a tension that was palpable to those observing from the outside. Kamran, conversely, appeared to thrive on the attention, using the scandal to amplify his presence, maintain relevance, and assert a form of control over the narrative, while the ambiguity of his intentions kept audiences guessing, speculation high, and engagement levels at an all-time peak, effectively turning the situation into a prolonged performance where public attention was both weapon and stage. Chrissy's continued involvement remained a driving force in shaping the story, her unwavering defense of Jim and pointed critiques of Kamran demonstrating her active role in influencing public perception, protecting Jim's interests, and asserting a moral framework within the chaos, showing fans that loyalty, strategy, and emotion were deeply intertwined in the ongoing saga, and that the narrative was as much about human relationships as it was about celebrity spectacle. Behind the scenes, private negotiations, conversations, and strategic consultations were reportedly ongoing, as both Jim and Cameron sought to manage the fallout, address legal concerns, and protect their interests, creating a scenario where every decision was carefully weighed, and where timing, messaging, and public perception were critical to navigating the complex dynamics of the scandal. The saga of betrayal, loyalty, and public scrutiny had evolved into a defining moment for all involved. A situation that showcased the interplay of personal dynamics, professional consequences, and cultural impact, leaving no one untouched and ensuring that the story would remain a topic of discussion, analysis, and fascination for a long time to come. Now that you've witnessed the chaos, the betrayals, and the explosive drama unfold between Cameron, Jim Jones, and Chrissy, it's time to hear from you. What do you think really happened behind the scenes? Was Cameron justified in exposing Jim's private moment, or did he cross a line that should never have been crossed? Can Jim rebuild his reputation after such a shocking leak? Or has the damage already been done? And where does Chrissy fit into all of this? Will her loyalty hold strong, or is this just the beginning of a deeper conflict? We want your hot takes, your theories, and your unfiltered opinions in the comments below, because this story is far from over and every perspective counts. Make sure you hit that like button if you've been hooked by this scandal from the start, because your support helps us bring you even more of the wildest celebrity controversies. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update, a new leak, or a shocking twist in this saga that's keeping the hip-hop world buzzing. Stay tuned, because the next chapter could drop at any moment, and trust us, you won't want to miss what's coming next.